It's for the first time since I've been back in Nova Scotia working now, I suppose officially for the Nova Scotia government, but for the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency, I actually feel kind of at home. So since I've spent the last 14 years in the digital space, this is kind of nice to be with people who have a great deal of interest, obviously, in the digital space. So this is really nice, and of course now an interest in tourism. I will admit that I'm a little pissed off at that Nancy person. Nancy, are you still there? I don't know if she is. Because up until very recently, Nova Scotia was the #1 destination liked on Facebook, and thanks to Nancy, Alberta has unfortunately now surpassed us. So I don't get to say that Nova Scotia is #1 anymore. Nancy has now taken that crown, so it's going to be a bit of a competition, I think, going back and forth to see if we can regain that crown. What I thought I'd do today is talk to you a little bit about our campaign and our programs for the year. I'm going to kind of go through that rather quickly. So, you know, if you have questions, if you have comments, just holler them out. But I'm going to go through that rather quickly because I suspect you're going to want to concentrate on the area towards the end, which kind of talks about our digital plan. Okay? So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the stuff in the preamble. Tom, wherever Tom is now, I guess. Tom is back. Tom had said when he heard me speak at Tie-Ins in November, he was thrilled to hear me say that we in Nova Scotia, and certainly the Nova Scotia Tourism Agency, believe that we should be the #1 digital marketer or online destination, I suppose, by sort of within 5 years as our strategic plan unfolds. We have a lot of work to do to get there. We're still in very early days, but I'll share some of the thinking that we have on how we're going to do that. So, a little bit about tourism in Nova Scotia. This may shock you, but it's down. And it's been down for about the last 10 years. It's been in decline for about the last 10 years. Having said that, it's actually not as bad as the rest of Canada. So, although we're down about 9% over 10 years, in the rest of Canada, they're down about 18%. So, the rest of Canada is worse. We're a little less worse. Newfoundland's a little better because they're actually up about +8% in the last 5 or 6 years, which is kind of a tribute to the marketing and advertising that they've invested in over that period of time. What we believe, and this is, we've done a lot of research kind of going back, and I'm not going to go through all of the strategic thinking that we've done over the last 12 or 18 months, but the NSTA was formed and developed, I guess, on September 6th. It came out of the tourism department, and it really was led or was formed, I think, at the impetus of industry. Industry said, you know what, we need something that's a little bit arm's length from government. We need something that's going to allow a little bit of different thinking. We need something that's going to work with industry. So the NSTA was formed. The board was appointed around November, beginning of December, and now we have a board made up of mainly industry partners. As a part of this, kind of a year ago, when industry first started saying this to government, at that point, the Nova Scotia Tourism Department started working on a whole lot of research. So we said, you know, who's the right person? We talked to people who visit Nova Scotia. We talked to people who don't visit Nova Scotia. We talked to people who we want to visit Nova Scotia. And we said, who are the people we should be talking to? We kind of narrowed it down to a group of people that we call outdoor enthusiasts. So these are people who are interested in outdoor activities. So perhaps it's a hike or a cycle, or perhaps it's just a walk. It's not. We're not talking sea kayakers or running across the desert here. We're talking soft adventurers, and we're talking about people who, although they may want to go for a walk in the area here, are happy to come back and enjoy Scott's lovely food in the evening, or enjoy a hot tub in the evening, or perhaps visit a winery in the valley. So, or the distillery close by. So these are folks who kind of like soft adventure. These are the folks that we think are the right target for our advertising. We have a couple of additional groups that we are calling cultural enthusiasts and culinary enthusiasts. Culinary, as you can imagine, is food or drink. Cultural, they're interested in the heritage, so whether it's the Acadian heritage, whether it's the Celtic heritage, or some of the other cultural things that we have around the province, whether it's I think it's 70-something museums around the province, all of these kinds of things. are the folks that the cultural enthusiasts are interested in. But we're trying to narrow it down to this outdoor enthusiast. Our goal, we've changed our goal. And our goal was perhaps not quite as clear as it is now. And what it is now is we want to increase visitation from first-time pleasure travelers. So we think, and we know, when we look back at the research, that what we see in decline is first-time visitors to Nova Scotia. And we know that people who come to Nova Scotia come back. But given that they're in decline, this is a worry for the future, right? So we need to have these people come back. We need to have folks visit Nova Scotia for the first time. So we're beginning to try to focus on first-time visitors. And the campaign ideas, I guess, are we're trying to present a different Nova Scotia. One Nova Scotia, an overarching Nova Scotia, and what that means is we're trying to present an idea of discovery, freedom, engagement. So what is Nova Scotia? It's a place where it's not just Peggy's Cove, it's not just the Cabot Trail, it's all of the places in between. So as I was going to, or past Peggy's Cove the other day, and down towards Hubbard's, Nova Scotia, I found the Aspategan Peninsula. And I sort of went out and around this 50-kilometer beautiful piece of property that should probably be a cycling trail, but it's a spectacular piece of property. I can visit the deck on my way to the Cabot Trail. I can go to the valley on my way to the Bay of Fundy. So there's lots of areas with 7,000 kilometers of coastline, lots to see and lots to explore and lots to discover. Freedom. When you arrive in Nova Scotia, you're free to do whatever you want. I can choose to go to the beach. I can choose to go to a museum. I can choose to travel along the coast. Whatever tickles my fancy, obviously, is something that I can do while I'm in Nova Scotia. And engagement, and I think this really talks to the social media that we're kind of talking about today. We need to engage with people. I was very impressed with Nancy's comment about social media and how there used to be a thought that social media was something that happened at the end of the purchase path, or perhaps when somebody was actually here. I believe, as Nancy does, I think, that it's something that happens all the way along that trail. When somebody's thinking about visiting Nova Scotia, or even just recently become aware of Nova Scotia, they may tweet something out, or they may ask their friends, or they may post something on Facebook, or they may see something from somebody who's also thinking about going to Nova Scotia, and they may say, gee, that does seem like an interesting place to go. So I do think social networking is something that kind of loops all the way around. But on the engagement side, we want people to participate and be engaged in what they're doing in Nova Scotia. So when they go to Yarmouth, I don't want them to just go down there and say, didn't there used to be a ferry down here somewhere? I want them to walk along the wharves, find a fisherman, and there's a Living Wharves project where they can talk to a fisherman, they can talk about fishing, they can talk about, they could actually purchase product right off the wharf. We want them to become engaged and in conversation. And then we obviously want them to tweet that, post that, tumble that, get it out there to their followers or their group of Facebook friends. Brand positioning, Nova Scotia is the spirit of the perfect road trip. No, that's not the road trip that Scott had when he was in school. That's a road trip where I'm discovering new, exciting things as I'm making my way around Nova Scotia. Again, that freedom, discovery, I'm looking for new opportunities, and I'm telling people about those great opportunities as I'm making my way around the province. The challenge, much like the challenge I think that Newfoundland has successfully overcome over the last number of years, they used emotion to create desire. So we need to use emotion to create that desire. We need to create a sense of vibrancy, position Nova Scotia in a new light, and obviously differentiate ourselves. And that doesn't mean just talking about one particular thing or one particular place. It means talking about the overarching thing or brand that is Nova Scotia. Campaign creative. Our campaign is going to be launched next week. I think on Wednesday or Thursday of next week, we will launch the campaign to everybody and begin to advertise in our chosen markets. The campaign idea is to celebrate the place and the state of mind that allows you to travel on a whim, enjoying the journey as much as the destination. There'll be television spots. There'll be television spots in English and television spots in French in the province of Quebec. We haven't advertised in the province of Quebec since 2009, so we're going to advertise in the province of Quebec, and we're going to advertise in French, which we haven't done, as far as anybody can remember, in a very, very long time. So we're focusing on advertising to that 8 million francophone population. So, I guess if I was going to give people tips, or, if you're in the tourism industry, our hope is that we're going to have a lot more francophones visit our website, nouvelleecosse.com or .com, that we're going to have a lot more francophones visit our website, and then hopefully go to links from our website to your websites. And if we haven't done that effectively, we need to begin to do that more effectively. We need to have much greater traffic. I talked to an operator in Digby, and they said they got more traffic from the campground 3 miles down the road than they got from NovaScotia.com, which frankly is just unacceptable. I mean, we have almost 2 million people that visit our website. We should be sharing the wealth, right? Let's get those people out there. Let's have links from our site to your site. Let's be able to pass those people around, and then hopefully you'll have links back to me, and that will help us in our organic search engine optimization, and we'll all get much higher rankings, and life is good. So let's try and think about those kinds of things. Again, there's a lot of things for us to do, and I'm trying to whiz through this, so I apologize, but there's a lot of things that we need to think about. We can't do everything today, but we certainly need to do everything well over the next number of years. I've flipped up some of the print campaigns. You can see a picture of Louisbourg with, again, that sense of discovery. A family has met a group of sheep as they're walking through Louisbourg. I will admit, since Chip is here, there's actually a few more sheep than are actually in Louisbourg. He probably knows the difference. But we did take some slight liberties with the number of sheep. But and this is a great year for Louisbourg. This is Louisbourg 300. Again, we're also targeting some of our advertising in Quebec, specifically to that Quebecois consumer, and telling them about the founding of Louisbourg 300 years ago, and going to do some specific advertising to get them to come here. The ad on I guess it is the left-hand side, best laid plans or best left behind, and again, a lovely shot of Fishing Cove in Cape Breton. Web and mobile. So our website, not great, right? But it needs to improve. It takes time to improve a website, as you all probably know. We will be improving the website a little bit this year, so we're trying to give it a bit of a refresh as we head into this year, which means we're kind of changing. We're eliminating some of that flash that happens at the top, and it takes time to load. We're trying to make things a little bit faster. We're trying to provide people with additional information. When we talk about the spirit of the perfect road trip, we want people to find routes. We want people to find maps so that they can get to these 2, 3, 4, 5 day destinations. And we've probably overthought this a little bit. Technology is really, as you probably know, technology is hard, but we need to make it simple for our consumers. So in the past, we've actually had I forget what it's called, but it's sort of a travel route creator on the site. It's hard. It's really hard to use. So why don't we just say to people, if you're in Nova Scotia for 2 days, go here. If you're there for 3 days, go here. If you're there for 4 days, go here. And if you're there for 5 days, go here. So that's what we're doing. We're making it simpler. We're making it easier. Not to say we're abandoning the idea of doing a travel route planner. We're going to do it, but it's going to be easy. And it's going to be easy for people to use. And we'll have that in the coming months and years. We won't have it for this summer. Just keep flipping along here, online advertising. So a lot more of our money is going to online advertising than we've ever spent in the past. So we're spending, and I'm going to guess, somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000 this year in online advertising to try and drive more traffic to our website. I thought I had a picture of the traffic. But our traffic's been relatively stable at about 1.6 million people visiting the NovaScotia.com website in the last number of years. We need to increase that significantly. This year, we had a nice bump. We went up to about 1.88 million people visiting the website, and now we're going to spend more money, and we're going to get more people to come to the website. We're also going to have more interesting things on the website. So for those of you, is everybody familiar with our Doers and Dreamers Guide? Yes, everybody knows the Doers and Dreamers Guide. How many of you think we're going to have a Doers and Dreamers Guide in 10 years? Well, nobody. I don't think we're going to have a Doers and Dreamers Guide in 10 years. But what we're going to have in 10 years is something online, likely for a device, whether it's a tablet, whether it's a smartphone, whatever it happens to be. We're going to have something so that people can still find those locations, can still find all of the advertisers that we have in the Doers and Dreamers Guide. We need to figure out a way to communicate with the people that are coming, that are using those smartphones, that are using those tablets. Last year we had almost 300,000 people visit our mobile site. The year before, we didn't have a mobile site. So, where were they going? They were kind of looking on their device and finding the NovaScotia.com parent site, if you will, or full site, which is not a great experience, as we all know, on a smartphone device. Okay, so we need to improve that offering. Our online advertising. I heard somebody talking earlier about conversion and conversion ratios and how to improve conversion and what are our conversion metrics. We're still working through this. Okay, so I'm preempting the question. We're still working through this. We need to have better conversion metrics. We need to understand where people are going. We need to think about what they're doing on our website, because conversion doesn't only mean booking a trip on the website. Conversion may mean I want somebody to go to the map page, and what's my conversion rate to get them to the map page? I want to eliminate, people are so proud about their bounce rates. I hope I'm not insulting anybody here. We're all proud about our bounce rates. I mean, bounce rates are only the first metric we need to worry about, as we all know, right? We need to create that engagement. We need to get people to go through all the areas that we want them to go through to the site, and we need them to actually convert to something, whether that's asking for information, whether that's booking a trip, all of those kinds of things. Online advertising, again, serve a greater selection of the online advertising. Will also have video, as video is becoming more and more important. Sample site list, we're going to kind of be everywhere. And we're going to try and be specific. So when you see TripAdvisor at the top, to this point, nobody has owned the Nova Scotia page on TripAdvisor. There is a Nova Scotia page, but nobody's owned it. We're going to now buy it. So we'll own the Nova Scotia page, and we'll put the stuff we want on TripAdvisor because they have lots of traffic. And obviously, we'll link that back to our page, and we're going to own it for a year. So we want people to look at the majority of this advertising, which is going to be online roughly from March until June, kind of during that travel planning cycle. But we want people to obviously, if there are places they go for on a 12-month basis, like TripAdvisor, we want to be in those locations as well. Sample French site list, I won't go through all of the detail there. I'm going to skip through some of these. Literature, we talked about that. Markets, let's talk about our travel planning cycle. People are planning their vacations, nationally and in Toronto and Ottawa, as far as we're concerned. People are planning, and it is that cycle of thinking, dreaming, researching. We're now much earlier in the travel planning cycle. So last year, our advertising in Ontario started in May. It's a little late, to be honest. So this year we're starting our advertising on March. I think it's actually on March 19th. On March 19th in Toronto, on April 1st in Montreal, because it's a little closer. I guess we feel they don't have to travel quite as long, and it is a new fiscal year on April 1st. And then in Atlantic Canada, where we're actually reducing our spending. So we are reducing our spending in Atlantic Canada. It's not that we're not concerned about the travelers from Atlantic Canada. The reality is the average Atlantic Canadian spends about $700 when they come to Nova Scotia. The average person from Toronto spends roughly $1,300. The average person from the UK spends $2,100 during that vacation. So, there's 20,000 people that come from the UK. There's 500,000 people that come from Ontario and Quebec combined. There's 1 million people that come from Atlantic Canada, but that 500,000 from Ontario and Quebec equivalize to the 1 million people that come from Atlantic Canada. So we want to get, and it's much more important for us to get one more person from Ontario and Quebec than it is to get one more person from Atlantic Canada. I'm going to skip through some of this and get to the digital plan. So, sorry, now I'm going to slow down a little bit. So we want to become the leading digital marketer. And why is that? Well, first, I've been in the digital space for about 14 years, and if we don't actually improve our digital offering, I'd feel a little embarrassed. And my friends in Toronto would all laugh at me. So, we need to improve that. We need to improve it because that's where people are going. They're going online to make those first research I guess, initial research thoughts, and then they're booking online. Last year, we booked 11,000 rooms through our check-in offering. So we actually have a contact center in Yarmouth, and 11,000 people. We booked 11,000 rooms. And you know what we did with that information? Absolutely nothing. So we need to do stuff with that information. So there's 11,000 people. We know where they're going. We know when they're going, and we don't have their email addresses. So let's get their email addresses, and then let's ask them if they'd like to get some information. And when we know they're going to Louisbourg, and we know when they're going to be in Louisbourg, 3 weeks before they go, we can tell them about the events and activities that are happening at Louisbourg 300. Or when they're coming to stay at the Inverurie, and they're booked through us, then, we can tell them what's going on in Bedeck at that particular time. We can tell, Air Canada can tell me 2 weeks before my flight where I should stay in Toronto. We should at the very least, we should tell people about the events and attractions and opportunities that are awaiting them in Nova Scotia. So we need to think about that. We need to think about, again, sort of improving our technology. Right now, we have a booking engine that's a reasonably good booking engine that we contracted for 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, we built this booking engine, or I guess someone built it for us. It included a contact management system. And right now, we pay $200,000 a year for that booking engine, which is nice. But there are systems out there that we could likely get for a very low cost. And in fact, we could probably make a margin on those. So we could get paid by the Inverurie 10 or 15%. And you know what? I don't actually care about the money. So I'm willing to give the money back to the Inverurie, right? So if an operator is on NovaScotia.com using our booking engine, which we'll then get for free, I'm willing to give that money back. I would like to cover my costs a little bit, but I don't really care about the total money. And that $200,000 that I'm currently spending, we're going to then spend that on marketing to get more people here. So we need to think about different things. We need to think about doing things differently. As I mentioned, our website visits up to almost 1.9 million. Our mobile visits at about 290,000. Pages viewed, bounce rate 36.7%. That's driving me crazy, bounce rate. Top visits, Canada. And this is something we all need to think about in the industry. Certainly something that TIAC, I think TIAC is in Halifax or Dartmouth the next couple of weeks, the Tourism Industry Association of Canada, and I know TIAN's talks about as well. A lot of our visits are from domestic folks from Canada. That's clearly our biggest market. We need to think about ways to bring in new visitors and visitors who aren't from Canada. When I mention the booking engine, there's a booking engine out there. I don't really want to give the name, but there's a booking engine out there that we're looking at talking to. What they'll do is they'll actually convert the website offering or the page for an operator into 43 different languages. So I talked to the Bed and Breakfast Association in the fall, and they actually brought in this booking engine, and they said, you guys have to talk to you guys, meaning all of the other bed and breakfasts, you need to talk to this booking engine, because what these guys have done is turned into a resource for us where we couldn't advertise in the past. So when somebody is looking in Arabic at a location in Nova Scotia, currently there's no way to look at that in Arabic. Using this booking engine, they were able to view the site in Arabic and make the booking. So we need to think about how people can partner with us and how we can provide that additional information around the world, because the web is truly, as we all know, a worldwide web. It's something that's out there everywhere. It's out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is your not so silent salesman. You need to have great information up there. And just on that, we need to have French. You need to have a little bit of French as well, because we're now advertising in Quebec. So I would encourage you to have some words of French, certainly a page in French, something to get out there. On the social media side, as I mentioned, up until very recently, when Nancy started to beat us, we were the #1 destination, provincial destination on Facebook. And we have a very high engagement rate. I'm afraid I don't know what it is, but we do have a very high engagement rate, according to the most recent ranking. And we're now moving into Twitter. We're focusing on Pinterest. As we launch our new campaign, we will have our own YouTube channel. YouTube is we'll have all of our ads, we'll have video, we'll have all sorts of content on the YouTube channel. Instagram, we do ask people to send in photos, as Nancy mentioned. I don't think we provide a photo every day from somebody, but we do post a photo a week. That's kind of the prize-winning photo, and we do recognize the people that send us those photos, and we get great photos every week. So if you haven't signed up and liked Nova Scotia, I would encourage you to do that because there's great information out there. Flickr as well. So Pinterest, we've got 448 followers. Not too many. But our new site, which will be launched within 2 or 3 weeks, will have all of these social media integrated into the top of the site. We'll have all of our, I believe we'll have all of our locations, all of the regional destinations located with all of the social media on top as well. So it's becoming a bigger and bigger part of our business and a bigger and bigger part of what we need to do to get people to come to Nova Scotia. We will relaunch the site on March 18th. We will rebrand novascotia.com. We'll have our top 25 recommended road trips. We'll have UK and German IP-targeted landing pages, which, again, we've never had before. We will have our mobile website will be improved to better match the look and feel of our website. Our email template, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and we will launch a mobile app for iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry. So I think I've got a picture of that somewhere. Here we go. So mobile app will launch. It's already been approved by the Apple Store. Was approved last Friday, and that will be available in the coming weeks. We don't really want to launch it just as an iPhone application. We'd like to launch it as an HTML5 application as well, so that it'll run on newer versions or certainly the newest version of BlackBerry, given that RIM has a rather large office in Nova Scotia. So we'd like to get that. We'd like to get that out there. It's a great app. I don't think everybody needs an app, but I think it's a great opportunity to utilize some of the data that we already have and repurpose some of the data that we already have. We have an events calendar on novascotia.com, and what this app will allow us to do is take full advantage of that events calendar and geolocate that events calendar as well. So as I'm standing in the deck, I can press the button, I can see what events are taking place next to me while I'm in the deck. So, we're trying to get everyone, certainly all operators, to input their information, which they already do, but to keep that information up to date. When I was at Tyans, I certainly encouraged operators, and I probably should have asked, but I don't know how many operators are here, but encourage operators to make sure that they have photos on novascotia.com. We want photos of your locations. We want photos of your accommodations. And the simple fact is, in case it's a revelation to you, if you don't have a photo, you won't get clicked on. So you better have a photo. And that's not, it's not me telling you anything you shouldn't know. You need to have a photo because people click on photos more than they click on places without photos. So have your photo, present your accommodations in a great light, and with the number of smartphones around, and if you don't have a smartphone, I'm sure somebody will help you with a smartphone to get your pictures and photos up there, and enter the events. So if you've got an event, our event offering on novascotia.com is not very good. It needs to get better. Because what it does is it kind of lists the events at the start of the year, and it kind of lists all the way down. You've got to scroll all the way down. With the app, you'll be able to see what's going on today. You'll be able to see what's going on tomorrow and the next day. So it's going to be a much improved experience. And as we move into our new website, it'll be a much improved experience in the coming years. iPad app. So as we've developed that app, it's also available for iPad. Okay, sorry. Okay, also available for iPad, 3-year digital plan. So what else? So completed in 2013-14. We hope to have a new booking engine up and running by October of 2013. We already have chat on the site, but we're going to be more proactive this summer in our chat. So we're actually going to interrupt people as they're browsing the website, and we're going to ask them if we can help them, and we're going to ask them if we can help them to book a room. NovaScotia.com redesign. So we have an RFP out there now, in case anybody doesn't know. We have an RFP out there right now asking for a new digital provider. And that new digital provider is going to help us to build the new website that we plan to launch next year, redesign of travel media and travel trade microsites. We're also going to, sorry, I don't know if I have that in here, but we're also going to launch an industry site. So right now we have NovaScotia.com. It's a little tricky to find content on NovaScotia.com if you're industry. So we're launching a Nova Scotia Tourism Agency website, which we hope to have launched by April 1st. And that'll have content, information, downloads. So if you want to build a bed and breakfast, or if you want to, get an idea how to open a store, or build an experience, that's all going to be there in one location. Mobile marketing, so improve our content, develop the mobile marketing strategy over the coming months. We've actually got a very comprehensive 3-year, it's not a 5-year, but it's a 3-year digital plan, and we've sketched out exactly what we're going to do, literally month by month, between now and 2 years from now. Launched text messaging marketing in 2014. Our blogs need to improve. If anybody wants to be a blogger, we're always looking for bloggers. I started blogging last week. I'm not very good at it. I keep saying, you know what, this is really hard. I have to go onto my computer to do it. I need to be able to do this from my iPhone or from my BlackBerry, and if I could, then I would do it much more often. So we're working on that kind of application. What else? Search engine optimization, search engine marketing, email program. So again, we talked about the email program. We need to improve the content, and we need to develop more content. So we're looking for content. I will say, as much as I want content, we don't want to be overwhelmed just yet, but we're looking for content. We will be looking for content in the future so that we can get more information out to our ultimate customers. And finally, we need to measure this stuff. So we need to measure it, we need to track it, we need to measure our conversions, and we need to ensure that we're staying, I won't say leading edge, but we need to stay current. And current is social media, right? I mean, it's everywhere, all the time. So we need to certainly stay current. So what's different in 2013? A new brand campaign. We're increasing our spend in Ontario. We're shifting our spend from this region, so we're spending far less in the Maritimes, and we're re-entering Quebec. We're doubling the spend on our online advertising. We've developed a 3-year digital marketing plan, a complete rebuild of NovaScotia.com by spring of 2014, and we're excited about moving forward. Okay. Thank you.
Good to see you. Keep writing and come back and keep blogging about us, will you please?
All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay. I appreciate it.